Hello Revit YouTube users. This is just a quick video on pyRevit, which is it is Python, basically Python in the background running these scripts, these little scripts. I click on this. These are all individual scripts in a folder on the computer, and there's a really handy package that you can download called pyRevit, which was created by Ehsan Iran Nejad, I think. I definitely pronounced that incorrectly, but sorry about that. So I'm going to show you the website where you can download this, and also one or two other bits and pieces. So there's loads of little tools along here, like really handy ones. I'll run through them in a moment, but before I do that, I'm just going to go over and show you online where you get all this. Now I'm going to put all of these links in the description below. So don't worry, you won't have to look at that and type it out. So I'm going to just show, there's this guy Darren Thomas. Now he originally created an add-in, or sorry, not an add-in, I suppose it is an add-in, called RevitPythonShell, which is basically Python accessing Revits API. And Python is for beginners. It's a really handy language. It's not as complicated as C# and a few of the other languages that are used to access the API. And it's just really handy. So you can download this if you want from here. You have the 2015, 16, 13 or 14 and a few others there. I'm using 2015 and 16 and 14 actually. So you can download it from here and install it, and you'll get a, if I'll just go back over to Revit, if you install it you will get this add-in here, RevitPythonShell. Okay, and you can open up an interactive shell then and start typing your code in here and getting it to run. And there's loads of examples. So actually, to close that, there's loads of examples online here. Let me see, where are they set up? They might be down further on. They're down around here. Sample, Revit Python shell scripts on GitHub. If I just click that, we have a few here. There's loads more in a few other places, I think. So that's the Revit Python shell, okay, by Darren Thomas. So what I'm looking at, this add-in, if I just go back to Revit, this add-in, the pyRevit toolbar, that is pyRevit for Autodesk, and it is by, as I said, Ehsan Iran Nejad, and he has kindly opened this up for everyone else to have access to, which is great. And you just click on this download package. So if I click on this, it'll download. I've already done it here, so I'll just go over here. So show in folder. Oh, it's already here. So I'm after copying my download into a folder here that I have underscore coding, and this is where it was copied to. Okay, and I just unpacked it all. And when you unpack it initially, you only get these two, the git and the setup.bat. Okay, so to get it going, you have to double click on setup, click run, and it will just start installing then and creating the add-ins for Revit. Now I'm just going to hit no because I've already done this. So no, I don't want to reinstall, and no, I don't want to uninstall. Okay, and then it will, and then when it finishes, you'll have these two folders. It downloads these fresh off GitHub. So if I go into pyRevit and go into pyRevit again, these are just images at the moment. So these images relate to the buttons. So this image here, yes, so you have your different images here for your different functions. I forget, and hopefully I'll get to put that in the description as well. But down here in our actual Py files, we have all of the Python code, and these are all just bite-sized pieces of code. Well, I'm sure some of them are a lot more involved than others, but I can just open up one. Let me see, inspect, find linked elements. Let's say, okay, I'll just open up that, and this is Notepad++. So all of the code is that there. just for checking out information in there. Now you don't have to understand this to run it, but if you are thinking of getting into coding or accessing the API, this is a fantastic kind of door into this into the world of API. And there's a lot of great examples here that if you are going to get into it and you're seriously thinking about it, this would be a perfect way of kind of getting a grasp of how you're supposed to handle calls to the API and edits to it as well, and all of that stuff. So yeah, these are all downloaded here, and then they are accessible from the actual ribbon across here. So just I forgot to mention there was some communication between Jeremy, Tomic, and Eshan over the last few weeks, as he mentions here. I'm going to put this in the description as well. And this is kind of a quick rundown explanation of how the Revit or pyRevit works, which is pyRevit here. And this is, I think, Ehsan and Jeremy kind of worked a bit together to put this out in the public domain, and I definitely recommend having a read through that if you are interested in this, because it's damn worth it. Okay, so thank you, Jeremy. Jeremy, he also has created years ago, I suppose, an add-in for Revit. So if I just click on my add-ins, this thing called Revit Look Up, you may have heard of it before. It's for basically accessing what exactly is going on with the API. So if I click on this wall, I can go to my add-ins. I'll just quickly show you this. I'm not going to spend too much time because this is a whole this would be a whole video on itself, and I don't fully understand it. But I'm just going to click on this selection. So after clicking on that, and that brings up this snoop. So I'm snooping. I'm checking out what this is. So this interior wall, okay, and it's of the category walls, and I know it's of the category walls because it says there. And anything that's in bold, you can click on it and it'll bring you deeper or sideways into the API. So if I click on that, it brings up a new window here, which is categories, and the category of this is walls, and the actual way of accessing built-in categories is OST_walls, which is what happens in the background. Okay, so I'll just close that, and I'll just click on another thing here, parameters set. Okay, if I just click on my parameter set, and this is all of the instance parameters, I think here. View type is there, type mark. Yeah, I think this is all instance parameters, or mainly instance parameters. So I can click on category, and I'll just click on category, and it has some information about it here. And value as value string walls, and basic comments I meant to click on there. So storage type string, so comments takes in a string, length takes in storage type double. So you see what I mean? You can actually delve into this and see exactly what's going on underneath the hood. Now that's more for getting deeper into your API access, but it's really handy if you are stuck, and I have been stuck a few times and actually been able to drill into it and find out exactly what is what. Helped out a lot. So that is the lookup, so Revit Lookup, which is really handy if you're getting into API. You basically really have to install this, but there's one thing: you have to compile it yourself using Visual Studio. So I might do a video on that if there's enough people looking for it. I compiled this one myself. I didn't know what I was doing at the start, and then I kind of figured it out eventually. So yeah, right, I'm going back here to pyRevit. So let's just say we're after installing it, and you open it up, and this is what you get. Okay, now when you start running Revit, you'll get a Python kind of you'll get I suppose a readout, a console readout of all the buttons being loaded. Okay, so it reloads them all every every time it's booted up. Okay, so I'm just going to run through a few of these, not all of them. There's a lot of them, but I'm just going to run through a few that I've just earmarked to talk about a little bit. So what I'm going to look at is just this is a simple kind of example of this this really handy button here. Actually, if it's kind of hard if I expand this, I don't know if that's going to ruin the video, but I'm going to expand it, and sure, you might be able to see this a little better. Now we have a few things here for selection. So this panel is all about the selection of elements, or isolation of elements, or filtering of elements, basically. What you have, or what you're looking at, or what you have selected. So if I click on this wall over here, and then let's say this wall here, so let's say they have to have, these need certain finishes on them, but I know them, I know where these walls are, like them and them. I can go back to pyRevit and just click append, so it's basically recording them into the memory. Okay, and I can just deselect that. Now I can click on read, load them back up, and it looks like I actually selected a room as well. I'll just deselect that, and I want to just go overwrite. Okay, so I'm just after overwriting what I had done before. I'm going to deselect and append, and that brings up just them three walls there, and okay, it's after, I don't know why it's selected that. I'm just going to, okay, I was running this earlier on. I'm going to clear that. I was running it earlier on, just checking it out, and yeah, I'm going to select just, let's say I want certain finishes on them. So I'm going to go back here, go append. That should be in memory. Now when I go read, it should have, yeah, the three walls that I have selected. That's fine. It's just like the selection tool, like save selection or select previous or last. But now I can go to the first floor, and I can click on, I know this wall and this wall down here, and also this wall here have a similar or are going to have the same finish applied. So I can click append, right? And I'll go to my fifth floor as well, and I'll click on this wall and this wall, and I'm going to go pyRevit append. And now if I deselect, okay, now I'm after selecting a few walls there. If I go click on read, and it'll give up the 8 walls. It offers up the 8 walls that I have selected. I've go to level 1, and it has them walls that I selected already. So it's a much more flexible way of selecting things and changing elements. So let's say if I wanted to type a comment into them, and I just wanted to do it visually, I knew where they were. You'd be typing in your comment each time you went to a new view. But with this, it's kind of very handy way of using this. So that's a quick look at the memory, or the selection memory. I'll clear that. Now if I'm just going to zoom into this toilet here, okay, and I'm going to click on memory, and I'm going to copy zoom. I just copied the way that this view is zoomed into that. I'll go to level 2. I'll just go over here, and now if I go memory, paste zoom state, it does the exact same on that floor, zooms into the exact same location, and that's a really handy one as well. And you have a few more options. Now I'm skipping by a good few of these options. I don't have time. I'm actually in a rush to get this done. So that memory one is really handy. Bits and pieces in there you can once you install, you can have a mess around with. Now selection, I'm just going to click on selection, and let's see, pick rooms. Okay, so at the moment it's on pick rooms. I can just window select. It selects 15 rooms. That's it. I don't have to filter. I don't have to do anything like that. I can pick on doors, and it's just going to let me select doors. So filtering before you actually select anything, really handy again. Now this is the great thing about this. Let's say yeah, you have doors. Let me see, is there windows? Pick windows. Okay, so we do not have windows. So let's say you wanted to pick windows. That's the perfect time to go back into your go back here, and what was it? Selection, pick doors. Okay, so both of them are loadable families, and you might come in here and have a look and go, okay, where is doors or OST doors? And you can go in there and do some editing, and let me see what's going on here. Category name, return. So pick by category doors. I think if you change that to Windows, you'll have Windows. I'd want to run through that. Like, you'd want to save this and create an icon with the same name. You'd have to read through the actual documentation on here to get. I think you can get your images in the panel here in the ribbon if you read through this. Well, not this, but this one here. So that could be something you could try out. Try to select windows instead of doors by making that simple little edit, and that may be your first ever piece of API action. So that's one of them. Isolate, so quickly isolate doors. Click on that and it's isolated the doors straight away. I can just undo that, and same with area lines, room tags, all that sort of thing. I'm not going to go through filter, inspect. No, let me see, what was I going to do? Orientate the face. Okay, I'm going to go to a 3D view. So I made a 3D view here, and I have this wall here, and I want to orientate the face of. I want to orientate basically this section box, so it's it's looking at this, and it's parallel. So what I can do is in here in the modify panel, I can go click on orientate the face, and then I just click on that. And now my section box just turned around and it's in line parallel with that. Very handy. Can be very handy, especially MEP and connections and all that. It can be quite handy to have that power to orientate exactly to a face. Really handy. So let me see, orientate the face. There's a few others here, but I'm just gonna click on views here, and there's a lot of there's a good few tools here in views and in view. So you have change selected view names to uppercase. So I'll just click on these here, and views, change select name to uppercase, and there we go. Okay, and I'm just going to. This is actually, you can see this pops up when you run a lot of the scripts. There's a Python kind of console that pops up and lets you know what's happened. Okay, and you can just, it's just like a readout. It's just letting you know. You can just X out of that. It doesn't change anything, and these are all named here, and or sorry, gone to uppercase. So really handy, really quick, effective tools. So duplicate selected views with detailing, duplicate selected views without detailing. So you can window, or you can shift select after duplicating all of them and making copy one. So that's welcome, very welcome. List unreferenced views, again very handy. List view templates, so again it's after popping up on this Python console, so it lists our view templates, really handy. And purge unused filters, purge unused view templates down at the bottom. If you receive a model off someone and it's got tons and tons of filters or templates in it, you can just get rid of them if you want to. And legends, I'm not going to show this, but you can, as it says, copy selected legends to open documents. Really, so if you already have a project that has a legend kind of set up, you can just copy it to a document. Really handy. And you might want to, whenever you're running these for the first time, if you're running on a project, I would open it in a sandbox, as in not editing the main file, and save it somewhere else, and just if it's your first time using them, just test it out on its own, not connected in. Okay, I just recommend that. Okay, I'm just going to go to schedules here, so I can just click on the door schedule and click on here, and then our drop down export schedule to text on desktop. So this is not an import export workflow, this is just really an export as it stands at the moment. So I'm after clicking on that, and oh, it's after failing. that's I'm not sure why it's done that. I tested that out. Let me see. I'll try furniture one here, and if it okay, I must have done something because this was working fine earlier on, and I'll just double to see if it has furniture schedule. It's after. No, it worked. So it did actually put it out. It just gave a bit of an error. So right, and now sheets. So sheets, we have our sheet list here. I'll just go to my sheets. Let's go to one of them, and you have a good few options down here. Add selected viewports to selected sheets. So that's pretty handy. There's a kind of description there. I haven't used that before, but that sounds like it could be really handy because you know the way you have to click them individually and place them on. I know there's add-ins that can do that as well, but this is all free, and fair play to the lads for actually putting all the effort into creating these really handy scripts. So let me see shift. Let me see here. We open selected viewports. Move selected viewports to selected sheets. Okay, so move from one to another as opposed to add. It reads like there. And this one down here is like really handy. View ordering tool. So I'm in a sheet here with a few different views. Let's say I want this to be 1, that to be 2, 3, 4, and 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And just to prove, I'm going to click on this and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you see it's after changing it to, so you have to select them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, there might be another workflow, another way of doing it, but this is just my first kind of impressions with that. Okay, so there's a good, there's more. I could go into these, but I don't really have time, and I haven't really explored them that much myself, so I wouldn't want to be wasting your time. So there's a few here that you'd want to be careful of. Now, this is, as I said, these are really helpful. But if you're a BIM manager and you want to implement this in the office, you might want to have a look at this and get rid of a few of the scripts, because you might not want to, let me see, purge all project parameters. Might not want to do that, dependent. So if you are going to draw or roll this out in the office, it might be a few scripts that you probably don't want people to have access to. Yeah, I'm not going to go through much more. I don't really have the time. Just go click on settings here. You can click on download updates, so you can actually just click on this and it will download the updates, and then you can click on reload scripts, or I don't know if you click on download updates you have to reload scripts then after, but let's say you edited a script, you can click on reload, and then you don't have to shut down Revit to run the edit. So let's say if you say we go back here, pick doors, let's say we change this to Windows. Actually, we'll give it a go. I probably won't work because I'm just throwing it Windows, and I'm going to save that. Now I shouldn't really do that, but I'm just going to click reload scripts, and you can see that it's just actually reloading all the scripts there. And I'm going to go back to a view. I don't know if there's any windows in this, so I'll place one in. So it's reloading all of the scripts, and all of them are done. Excellent. I can go back here. I'm going to go into entry level, and let me see. I'm going to place a window just in there just to make sure. So just place a level or a window there. Oh, there's a few of them as well. So I'm going to go to select and doors, and did I select pick doors? So yeah, okay, it worked. All I have to do is change the word, and it worked. So I'm just going to change that back in case I get a nasty surprise another day. So that worked great. All I had to do was change that, doors, and save, close it down, come back to Revit, go to or pyRevit, and click just reload, and that's going to bring it back. It's going to reload. It's just going to really update the one. It's uploading them all, but I only made the one edit to this one here. So really handy, really excellent resource for anybody. If you spend any amount of time in front of Revit, it's kind of worth your while to kind of, even understand how these work, and then start looking at the actual scripts and how they work. And there's a pretty good community out there to help along, so I would recommend this to everyone. And I'd like to say thanks to Darren and Eshan and Jeremy, especially Eshan, for putting all of this, because I did try and create my own buttons. I did create my own buttons for this one before, but this workflow here is just amazing. It's excellent. So that's it, and hopefully you'll find some use for this free plugin. And